Welcome to Section 5 of the Lake Creation Tutorial for Pishtech's VR Sportfishing game. In this one, we are going to cover, at least begin to cover, Bundysoft's L3DT, Large 3D Terrain Generator. There's both a free version of this and a professional version of it. I highly recommend the professional. You can do a lot of neat things with the free version, but the professional is not very expensive. Let's support these guys. It's an amazing chunk of software for the money, and we're going to have some fun with it. Okay, right away we are going to create a new map. Take the design inflate blank. You can play around with all the other things, but I'm going to just show you a quick way to generate a neat looking, realistic looking lake with this tool. Alright, 16 by 16 is a good size for our design map. And our design map, what that's going to look like here, I'm going to refresh it here. Okay, this is our edit box. I'm going to scoot this off to the side for the moment. But 16 by 16 grid, the dark green, it shows our relative altitude, although relative doesn't mean anything because we picked a blank map. That means our entire map is blank. It has an altitude of 0 meters everywhere. It's in metric and kilometers, notice. Down here in the very bottom right corner, this little patch of the screen, while I mouse over the land, it's going to show me the altitude there. And here it's going to show me my coordinates. Alright, well, we don't want a landscape that's all 0 meters, so what are we going to do? Well, let's take a look at our brushes. You can pick the size and shape of a brush. Let's go ahead and leave it what we have, a 2-block circular brush. We're going to change the altitude. Let's say we want to have some water that's about 60 feet deep in our lake. Well, that would be about 20 meters. The altitudes in L3DT, it doesn't necessarily mean that's the altitude you're going to give it in the game. You can change the scale of things vertically, horizontally, pick your water level, things like that. But general guidelines, a good idea to visualize the lake the way you actually want it to be and build it that way in L3DT2. So let's say 20 meters is how deep we want the deepest part of the lake. We can just come over here and draw, click and drag. Notice the color change. Remember I said the dark green is it's a relative representation of the altitude, was the dark color. Well, now the land, the area that I'm pointing at here, the bright green, it's the highest land. It's 0 meters, whereas down here, again, look down in this corner, is -20. That's what I told it to be. I painted -20 meters on it. So the colors will change to show you relative altitudes. Maybe we don't want to just set an altitude, like, well, let's raise the land a little bit. Instead of having it all be 0, let's make it higher. I'm going to say 5 meters, but I'm going to click relative. So now when I click and drag, every block that I'm affecting is going to be raised by 5 meters with every stroke. I paint on it again and again and again. Mouse over, notice the other green's getting darker because relatively speaking it's lower. Now my highest points, here I have 55 meters. Over here, also 55. So I just created some hills that are about 150 feet high. And I can brush these all over the place. I can go right across my lake. I just made part of my lake shallower. It's only -5. It's a good idea to have a significant amount of land surrounding your lake in every direction, maybe 2 design blocks. So that's an 1/8 of the width of your overall map in each direction. I'm going to make this -5 now, and I'm going to lower some of the land and some of the lake bottom too. Okay, I double-clicked on it, so it's letting me edit that pixel specifically. But all right, I'm going to give my lake a little bit of shape. All right, what do we do with it now? Here's our design map, and for now we've only touched altitude. We'll hit some of the other stuff later. But up here, your calculation wizard or calculation queue, we only want a height field. It's all we can do yet because other things are dependent on it. We say okay. It's going to build our height field. Our height field is a grayscale image, just like we need for the game. The red, it's showing us now our height field. The red's the water line. It's 0 meters. And I can mouse around. It's still going to show me my altitude down here. But it got smoother. It got more natural. And see these other lines around here? Don't worry about the red or the gray lines. It's a topographic map that it's showing me right now. But what we actually export will strictly be the grayscale image without any extra lines drawn to show altitude. That's going to give us our landscape. And you can see it's a lot more intricate, realistic than if we simply whipped it up in a paint program. But again, we just scratched the surface of what we can do. Up here, select map, go back to the design map, and we're going to edit again. We're going to do a few other things. How about peak and roughness? I'm going to uncheck altitude now. Peak roughness. If I increase this a little bit and apply it to all, it's going to ask, do I really mean it? I do. Okay, so watch if I set it really high once and apply it to all. How green or brown the area is indicates the roughness. We don't want so much roughness that we lose what our lake design looks like. So I'll turn that down a little bit. Let's apply that to all again and calculate and see the effect. Only the height field. I'm not ready to do other things. And now take a look at our height field. Roughness was applied, so we got some variation. We got some certain amount of random influence here, and our lake got a lot more interesting. Well, let's do some more. We'll go back to the design map and edit. We can also choose how fractal, how much fractal roughness do we want. So we're going to increase that. There's a lot you can do. Again, we're just scratching the surface, but we're going to recalculate our height field and see what adding fractal roughness to our texture did, or our height field. And wow, look at that. Look how complicated our shoreline just got. All right, that's pretty cool, but we're going to do more yet. We're going to go back to our design map and edit. Terraces. Do we want to make some terraces? We can either apply to all and turn this up, or we can use the brush and paint on areas that we want more terrace. Erosion shows us, in fact, I'm going to go ahead and decrease the amount of fractal roughness just a little bit. We'll have some of it, but not too much, to the whole map. Yep. Erosion takes a lot more time to calculate, but it's going to figure out where over millions of years rain and storm and wind and all these influences on the landscape would erode the land and what that would do to it. You'll have channels where water would run down, things like that. Do not mess with the lakes for VR sport fishing, because we're creating one lake. We don't want it to decide where lakes go. As far as we're concerned, below sea level is a lake. Climate we will get into in another tutorial, but we will turn erosion up a little bit. We're going to apply that to all. We're going to calculate again to get a height field. We don't want the water map yet. Again, when you add erosion, it's going to take a lot longer to process. As you can see here, it's doing channeling erosion, filtering erosion, all these different erosion processes. You can decide how much of it to do, and that's going to make a big difference of how long this takes. Also, the size of your design map will make a big difference. Now you can see the effect of the erosion. You can see all these little channels and little coulees or small valleys along the lakeshore. We have a rather complicated lakeshore. If we decide this is a 1 mile square, 6,000 feet, that's several miles of shoreline, and we've got a few islands here. One other thing to show you right now, if you click Edit while you're on the height field, we're actually going to launch a program called Sapphire, or a window called Sapphire. I'll reduce the size of the window here. It is a 3D preview of our world. In fact, I'm going to close that height field tool. I can click with the right mouse button and glide around, and I can move through the world with WASD keys. It's a preview of the layout of our lake, and it's pretty neat. Also, while you are in Sapphire, you can edit. Now, if I click Edit, Height Field Tools, let's take a lower brush. This sphere that I'm moving around will lower, as I click, it will lower the land where I click and drag. So the longer I hold it down, the more I lower it. And there, I'm just carving a channel right into the hillside. You can use this to connect. If you have multiple bodies of water and you want to make a channel between them, or you're worried that you've got a reef that's going to keep people from getting to one part of the lake that you want them to have access to, this is a way you can do it. When you quit out of Sapphire, you won't see the effect here, but it is saved in your height field. If you go back and recalculate your height field, you will have undone anything you did in Sapphire. So keep that in mind. Sapphire, do it after all the calculated height field work you want to do. I'm going to let it recalculate that because I don't think I want to keep the changes I just made in Sapphire. But we're going to move on to climates in L3DT in the next segment.